So, welcome back to a little update video. Today we will talk, is AMC now finished finally? What is GameStop doing? We will take a look at Plug Power and do a little update. We will look what BYND did today. First look, because of a wish, we will look at PayPal, and also because someone wished, we'll look at MicroCloud. If you're interested, just stay tuned. So, as always, I'm using the fractal method. If you're interested, I will link the tutorial video at the end of the video, or you just search for the playlist fractal method on my YouTube channel. I added another rule. It's not tested, but it's just a case if you not have just a straight line down from your L midpoint and T. It's a rule for what is if it happens that you have your peak, your lower high, your M, but your T, your last point to sell, is not on the trend line. Because that means you could, I'm not 100% sure right now, you have another trend line. And in that case, your last lower high isn't allowed to break over this trend. But I will give examples for that. Okay, well, then let's jump into AMC. So this time again, I will talk about the full story and then the update, just so we have everything in one video again. Just before we start with this, one little thing, because now quite a lot of people are already commenting and asking things. And I say that absolutely, how is the word? Truly. I like that. Yeah. I want more opinions. And there is no question which is too stupid. Absolutely not. One thing about the fractal thing, because I got so many questions because of that. What is with fundamentals, shorts, dilution is coming, and all these things? You can have another opinion about it. With my thinking and with this theory, in my opinion, all these things doesn't matter. Yeah? That's also because I got also the question why so many people are using the fractal theory. And they were all the time wrong. And I get that. But there are two reasons for that, in my opinion. First of all, what they call fractal theory is just they taking this path pattern here, for example, and put it here and say this has to be one-to-one, absolutely the same. They are not making them bigger, smaller, nothing. And then, of course, it will be wrong. The fractal theory is that the previous move is repeating, but not one-to-one. That's bullshit. And then they put fractals in front of the video. That's just wrong. The same, and last thing, they're using fundamentals and fractal. And in my opinion, that's absolutely not working. You have two choices. You can track with fundamentals and indicators. That's fine. Everyone has his own theory. Or you use fractal. But mixing them isn't working. If the market, in my opinion, if the market is supply and demand with fundamentals, the fractal theory wouldn't work. And if the fractal theory is working, then the fundamentals wouldn't work because they are dilution and shorts and who is buying and selling, because then they were senseless. Yeah. So just saying. Good. For AMC. So we start with, what is this? This is clearly a mega pattern. clearly we started at IPO. We touched it in March 2020. We made a lower low, but we didn't touch the trend line again. Then we, of course, went up to the upper trend line, rejected it, and knifed. In 2024, we touched, in April, we touched the trend line once again. And now we are close to it again. So with it looks like, and with past patterns, I would say, yeah, we most likely are right now in here. Yeah. I mean, there is a possibility that we touch this lower trend line down there again. That would be something $1, 120, but I really don't like that. Yeah. So what does that mean? Yeah. Where would we go next? Well, if we do our squeeze, our ultimate target is the upper trend line again. The same like in 2021. So it depends when we are doing it, but it should be something around 800, 900, 1000. It sounds stupid, I know. Next thing, will it be a 1 or a 2-part squeeze in my opinion? In my personal opinion, it's 90% a 2-part squeeze. Yeah? Or let's say 70% a 2-part squeeze. Yeah? Why? Just because we are repeating 2020 and 2021. It was a 2-part squeeze in 2020 and 2021, so it should be a 2-part squeeze right now too. Well, then comes the question, yeah, but so many people are looking for a 1-part squeeze because they comparing it to April 2024 or to May 2025. Yeah. In that case, I would say if we're doing and if we're tracking 2024 and 2025, in my opinion, you won't break this trend line. You will get a 1-part squeeze, but you most likely reject at $10. That would be your T. We fall even lower than we are right now. Then, in my opinion, we will break this trend line, and it will take till 2027 at best to get this. It's only my opinion. I'm not completely saying there is no chance we get a 1-part squeeze, even up here. Yeah, because only a stupid person would say it's 100% not possible. But for me, it's a 2-part. So where would be the level for the first part, the target for the first part be? Well, also here, we just look at 2020. Because we just make a trend line from September to over 2020 and 2021. And you clearly see you had your V here. Here you had your V. You made your first part, your breakout, your pullback and breakout retest. Of course, now you could say, yeah, okay, it depends how you draw your trend line. Absolutely right. But then we just take the fib. We take the fib from our absolute low to our peak, and the bounce was at the 618. So, can we use this to predict where maybe the next run would be? So, if this is our bottom, and I will come to that, we just take from this low, so 130-ish, our fib for, in the best case, February to March, and we just look where would we have to go so we don't break under this trend line again. And there you have it. 127, 150, depends how quick the pullback would be. But I absolutely think we won't break under this trend line again. And then we will do this sideways bullshit, and in the second part, we go to our order mice. Also, like in 2020 and 2021, I don't think we will get a B pullback because we didn't do that in 2021 either. Yeah, and I think that's the whole story for it. Well, then let's look what we have done today. So, this is the 30-minute chart, so we just see all the candles, and this here was today. Yeah, and I already said in the last video, I think so. Tuesday was the last video, I think. We broke our higher low, so this can't be higher low anymore, and because of that, we will knife. Well, and we did. Perfect. Yeah. I mean, okay, it would have been more perfect if this higher low would have held, because it would take less time now, but still perfect. Also, this single candle we did today, this single up candle in the morning, this is our perfect T. Just the T of this little thing. Yeah, you have here your A, your B, your C, your lower high, your midpoint. You fell under the line where your M started, fall back, came up again, T. So this could be already our bottom. I would still say most likely we still have a red day tomorrow. As I said, I don't want to touch or break this trend line, but 130, 128, something like that. Something in this range here. Yeah. We should do tomorrow. Perfect. In that case, I would also agree to, let's say 90%. This is now our bottom. So then the next question. So we can squeeze next week because so many people are saying we just go to our bottom, to our V, and then we gap up. Yeah? So I'm not saying that's not possible. In my opinion, it is just not possible. Just saying. Just because we didn't do that in 2024. So I will show that for a second. Yeah. We didn't do that in 2024. We didn't squeeze from the bottom. We made a little higher low. You don't even nearly see that. And made our A here. Yeah. And from this A peak, we did a 0.618 pullback. Then a little micro higher low, and then we went. We didn't do that in 2025. Yeah. We made our V. Here we made a higher low, and then we got our channel and run. And also, we didn't do that in 2020 and 2021. Here also. We made our little higher low in here on the lower time frames, you can see it. Then we went up to our A. And then we did a 0.5 pullback. And then we go. So AMC and all other stocks I'm showing never gapped up from the bottom. I mean, okay, we are tracking something absolutely brutal and big, so I would be stupid to say it's not possible. And if we suddenly get a massive influx of volume and we do something like that Friday after hours and Monday pre-market, okay, fine. Maybe, yeah. If not, my next steps still is we find our bottom tomorrow. Next week, in the quickest way, we go up, but we won't break this trend line. What trend line I mean? I mean the trend line from here. Yeah. So from October 2nd, 2025, with the most touch points, I mean, if you make that absolutely perfect, something like this. Yeah. So something 180, 170. Yeah. This here would be your peak for your higher low. And in the best case, you're doing that till Wednesday next week, fall into Friday. Yeah. And holding this time the higher low. Yeah? And then the following week, that means in the second week of February, you break out of the trend line. So of course, I think the 200 EMA is at 270 right now, so you won't go over the 270. Then you take from your bottom, wherever it is, the 0.5, and that should be your last pullback. And if this is ending on a Friday, that would be the last pullback before the 1 part or the 2 part squeeze. So yeah, in time, if suddenly the volume is gone, this can take 4 to 8 weeks, 2 months. If we're getting suddenly an influx, a massive volume, this could be done in, I mean, extreme bullish would be 1 week, but 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Yeah. Also, one last thing to AMC. In 2025, it took you from the V to the finish of the higher low 25 days or 26 days. In 2024, from the V to the finish of A, it took you 24 days. And in 2021, from the V to the finish of the higher low and the A, it took you only 9 days or 10. Yeah. So, I mean, if we're tracking May 2024 and April 2025, the start, in my opinion, if we're repeating it, would be end of February, most likely March. If we're tracking 2020, 2021, I'm not saying it's 9 days because the repetition of the fractal is normally to 99% bigger and slower. But from 16 to 18 days is everything in it. It should be quite quick. And to say that again, the landmark, just for it looks like, we are right here. Right now. In this portion here. Yeah. So tomorrow is Friday. So we would be in January 5th. Right now. If everything tracking wise is perfectly finished, we would be there. The only thing which is, as already said, missing is higher low a 0.5 pullback. I'm also okay with one thing, just to make that clear. I'm also okay with just the higher low. Yeah. And to make that absolutely clear, I'm already in position because I was not tracking this shit for 4 years, only to oversee a landmark and miss it. Okay. But I want to say that absolutely clear. I can say I don't care about the A. Okay. Because with volatility, maybe we don't getting this pullback. Maybe. Not thinking that, but okay. What I'm absolutely not fine with is I want my higher low. I want it. If you're doing that in 3 days, fine. I don't care. But I want my higher low of the V. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Then let's go into GameStop. So here also very quick full story weekly chart from IPO till March 2020. This was just our higher low. And before anyone is asking, yeah, here on the weekly, it looks like it would be lower. Yeah. But if we're going on the 24-hour, it's not lower, especially if we do adjusted away and. I tested this. If you don't believe me, just because I did that to Google it. Because I really freaked out. Because I thought, okay, this can't be. That's slower. Yeah. And if this would be lower, that would be very, very bad. But just Google it. This is a higher low. So for the macro tracking, this is our higher low. From March 2020 till April 2024, this is just our A, with the A pullback. Also, you're taking from your V, absolute all-time low, the FIP, come up here, it came nearly perfect to the 0.5 pullback. And this little thing, April 2024 till today, is just our little higher low to this A. So before we go into the micro tracking, what comes next? Next comes our B run, our squeeze. Only thing is, this would be only B, just saying. So we go up, then we do the 0.5 pullback, and somewhere in the future we still got our C. But I think then nobody is interested in it anymore. Where would be this BB? I mean, there are a lot of price targets with infinite squeeze, at least $5,000, and so on and so on. For me, I'm just using this trend line. Yeah, we touched it at IPO, we broke over it a little bit in 2008, and we touched it in our, we checked it in our A squeeze. So the only reasonable price target I can give, and what I'm believing is, if we're doing it now in February, March, April, around $300-400. Maybe we're breaking a little bit over it like in 2008, yeah, then 500, 600. But for me, everything over 1,000, but only my opinion. Yeah. Okay, well, then let's look into micro tracking. So for the micro tracking, I said in the last video, I still have two versions, the bullish and the bearish one. And the bearish one would mean we still have to knife down to 70.50. And I said we should see in the next 2 days, or at least till Friday, really big knife candles. I mean, okay, we went down, but that's not really a knife candle to me. And what I mean with knife candle is this one here. Yeah, so left side is right now on the 4 hour, right side is 4 hour March 2024. And with knife candles, I mean knife candles. Yeah, so we didn't got that yet. If we're not getting these knife candles tomorrow, I think we can put the bearish alternative to the side. Yeah. So what would be this then? Well, here on October was our T. November 21st was our V. December 31st was our high low, which also perfectly ended in a V&A and under the 0.786. Then we added a little higher low. This one came close to the 7.8, but it went under the A, so also perfect V&A. And then we broke out of the trend line. So this is not A yet. I'm not saying it's a small A, but it's not DA we are looking for, because DA is 28 to 30-ish dollars. This is just the little a for hold this. And they are still the same rules. Yeah. You break out, you make a break or retest. That's the kind of shitty part. Yeah. You could be finished here, especially if you say you're taking your fib just from this low for this one. We kinda bounced here. Yeah. So this could be already our little higher low. Yeah. If not, and we're still going down tomorrow, but then your level is still this trend line. Yeah. So in that case, you would go down here. You won't break under this trend line again. So 2180, 2190-ish. If it's only a little big, who cares? But not something like this. That would be bad. If you're doing that, that's 17. Yeah. But if you just bounce here, perfect. Yeah. Next target is something in this range. So here would be our B. Then we do again, if we do that, because that's micro tracking. 0.5 pullback. And our target is still our big A. Yeah. Depends how quick AMC is. Yeah? Because I absolutely agree. These two stocks showed in the past, there is synchronization. So if AMC is quick, then GME has to be quick too. Yeah? If you're up here, wherever it is, if it's at 28 or 30 or 33, you take your 0.5 and you do your last pullback. And this is your last pullback before the squeeze. Yeah? I said for AMC, I don't care about the A. Yeah. So it could only do the higher low and then go. The thing with GME is we already did the higher low. So this A is essential for me. Yeah. Especially if we still need 1 or 2 or 3 weeks for AMC, GME has to do something. We can't just go for the next 3 weeks this. I mean, we could, but I think we won't. Yeah? So we have to do the A and the A pullback. Yeah. Just an opinion. I think for both, it won't ever squeeze talk is over. Yeah. Whatever we see for AMC and GME, I will show that side by side. So the only bearish alternative I have, if we say it's not this year, which I really don't believe, but for an alt, left side weekly GME, right side weekly AMC. Well, they would still go up. Still. With this situation we have right now, both still have to go up. That means the max point for GME would be 56. And then we go down. I mean, in that case, this will take years, just saying. Same for AMC. In the worst case, 740. And then we go down. And it will take most likely another year. Not believing that, but for the worst case. So, in my opinion, there is no way. We're just saying we're doing now months over months, nothing. That's at least not in my box. Just saying. Okay, next one is BYND. So here again, full story. BYND started its fractal in the move from its B to its C. We don't see that, we just have to imagine that. Yeah? Then low high, midpoint T, down to RV. So what are our next, and then we did this massive higher low, which we are finishing right now. So what are our next targets when we are finished with this? Well, our A, wait, we have to go there on the 24-hour charts. So we have all the candles. Our next A, which should come now then, is between 20 and 15, something over this line. Then here, the same like GME, you're taking a 0.5 and it goes back to the 0.5 or the 618. You bounce there, go up to your B, which should be over 30, 43 to 70, 80, 90. You make your 0.5 pullback from your A bottom, and then you go to your C. The run to A should be right quick. If we're also doing this large pullback or this large, long, slow pullback like our higher low, the pullback of A could take then again sometime. Then a quick move to B again, then slowly grinding down, and then a big, quick pull to all-time high. Well, then let's look into micro checking. So here's our all-time low on October 16, and this is just our higher low. And till yesterday, and the last video was Tuesday, I think, we still had two versions. a bullish one where we can go up from here, and a bearish one. Now we only have one version. Yeah, there's no alternative anymore. And this one version means that this whole thing here is our higher low. Yeah, there is no if, this, and that anymore. This whole thing was just our T. And we go down now. To where? Well, with this break today, and it was a quite quick break, we will go down to 66 cents. This is a massive gap here. Wait, I can show that. Here. Here's a gap. And the gap starts at 66 cents. Yeah. Technically, and they say that on purpose, technically, we are finished now. Yeah. Because the T started here on November 21st. And today we went lower. So technically, we are finished with everything. Finished with the T, the higher low is finished. I say that again, normally the T is not just a little blip under where it started. It's quite a deep dive where it started. But again, technically it's finished. So I still believe we will gap fill now. In the best case, just saying, we are doing that tomorrow. Like AMC. It would be perfect if both buttons tomorrow. The only difference is AMC only has to go down 3-5 cents. I mean, okay, that's also only, was it at 15 cents for BYND, but it's still a 16% drop. But why not? Yeah? And then again, so let's say two versions. We go down tomorrow, but we're not going to 66 cents. Well, then half of the next week will be the drop to 66 cents. The rest of the half week, you're doing high low. And then you can go up. Because I think this thing should be finished next Friday. If it's higher low. If you suddenly see tomorrow a run down, a knife to 66 cents, then I would imagine the whole next week we're doing the higher low. And in the moment this is finished, we are ready to go. And I already showed to where. Yeah? Only the same like last video. My absolute no-low line, if we're not bouncing here at 66 cents, for me personally, is 58 cents. Just because we're coming so low that we could get into danger that we're breaking the new all-time low. And then this is just T. And then we have to do the whole thing again. And I don't like that. This would take so much time. And we're already under the 0.786. So the only thing I could imagine, we are ready now. Then we still need to do the high low. Or we gap fill and do then the high low. My time target is still big numbers we see from the second week of February on, not earlier. No financial advice. Okay. So, because someone wished it, we'll look into plug. So I think I already showed that. I'm not quite sure, but I was tracking that already quite some time. It's quite a little bit complicated, Fractal. For this, we still have two versions, which both are 50-50, I would say. Yeah? A bearish and a bullish one. We start with the bearish one because it's the quicker one. For the absolute overview, also plug started in its B run to its C. The A and the B we have to imagine. So in January 2000 was our C, then lower high, midpoint T, fell down to our all-time low. From this all-time low till today, for the bearish version, would mean this whole thing is our macro high low. But for the bearish version, this thing isn't finished. And this peak here is also the peak on September 2025 was just our T, and we still have to come lower than 46 cents. And also we have here our A. Yeah. So we have to come lower than this. Yeah. That would be the bearish version. And in the moment we are finished with this, our next A has to be higher than 75, higher than the peak of higher. For the bullish version, means that this higher low is finished. It didn't came down to the 0.786, but in that case, this would be your A, and this here would be your A bottom. In that case, we already did our V&A, and that's the only thing we are looking for in a higher low scenario. So let's zoom in into this. So here's our V&A, the ending of the big higher low, and we micro track now. Only problem here also are two versions. The bearish version, again the shortest one, means this whole thing is again just a higher low, and it wouldn't be finished either. That would mean that most likely last Friday was our M, and we still have to come lower than $1.05. So it would look like this. Up to our T, down. Here's our A bottom at $1.03, and we have to come at least 1 cent lower. Then after that, we will go up again. This then would be our A. Then we take again the 0.5 pullback, something here. And 0.5 pullback, breakout retest to the trend line, and then we go up. This would then but take time, just saying, because it would be still a lot of price action. For the bullish version, is this already A? I know there is not really a higher low, but for the bullish version, would be this still A, especially if you take from your absolute V to your peak. This is a 0.5 bounce. So yeah, that's the only reason I give that a chance. This could be A. What wouldn't happen next? Well, we pulled back. Perfect. We already made in our little micro checking a little higher low. We already did a little micro A. So this one here. Yeah. We did already B. Yeah. Also bounce on the 0.5. So our next level is still our C. Where would be our C? Well, our C would be here at $13, which is the same time our B. Yeah. In that case, we go up something over $14. Take our 0.5 out again, pull back, and then we run. This should happen latest this summer, in my opinion. And to say that, our next landmark after this would be again C, but this C is then the middle macro A of the A run. I know that's a problem if you're using this as macro tracking, because I already showed in the tutorial video, every letter is a C and has a B, C, L, M, T. Yeah, and you can go lower into the 1 minute. Yeah, if you want to do that, is another question, but you can track every single letter, and If you're doing that more and more and more precise gets the tracking. But I would start with the weekly tracking, then with the 24-hour tracking, then with the 4-hour tracking, and for these things, maybe with the 30-minute tracking. I wouldn't track on the 1 minute because the mistake ratio is getting bigger and bigger as lower as you go. Yeah. What I'm tending to on plug. If you break 2.69, that's already bullish for me. If you break $3, I think the alternative for the downside is gone. If you break to the downside and you break, and you break 162, I think this thing is higher. And you have to go down to $1.03. And then, of course, if you break 96 cents, well, then the alternative that this higher low isn't finished is there, and you still have to come down to, what was it, 40 cents? Yeah, 46 cents. Yeah. So this is a levels play. Yeah. We have still to wait. Where would it go? Okay. So next one is also a wish, PayPal. So I already tracked it a while ago, but I didn't really play it because back then it was just too slow. And then there were other plays, better plays. So for PayPal, I have two versions, the bullish and the bearish one. Yeah? And both are really depending on the levels. So from IPO, so 2015, we did our macro high low. Here is our A. I know there is not a 0.5 pullback, but there is just no other place to put A. This is clearly our B. And then here's the highest point on the 24-hour chart. This is our C. Lower high, midpoint, fall down to our last time to sell point. Then we do our V under A. So now the important part. We are doing here our higher low. If this higher low is finished, I mean, we have to hold this level here. We have to hold $50. As long as we're holding $50, this is our higher low. Next target would be 103, 110-ish. Yeah? So something up here. 0.5 pullback from our absolute low up to B, which should be around 200. Then we're taking the 0.5 to our B peak, form our A low, 0.5 pullback. And then the only question is, are we breaking all-time highs or not? That would be the bullish version. Yeah. The bearish version means we are not holding this level. In that case, this is not high or low, this is T. And in that case, you really go down. Yeah. To where? Yeah. Something under 52. Yeah. Something under 52. I just don't have any levels here. Yeah. So from 52 to $30, everything is there. Yeah. Of course, if you break $29, yeah, then it's a new all-time low. Yeah. But I mean, I don't expect that PayPal is disappearing. So even if we do that, yeah, well, then we just have to wait for our V and higher low again. Yeah. Let's see. I'm really not sure on this one right now. I mean, I'm sure on the landmarks. Yeah. So if you bounce here, perfect. If you break this level, so if you break $50, we will go down. Yeah. But right now, it's really 50-50. Yeah. But it's not looking that bad. Okay. And last one is HOLO. So microcloud. I mean, I know it was quite no, common or quite famous in 2021, I think, or between that, because of this big moves, and it was also a meme stop, or still is, but this stock looks terrible. Just even AMC looks better than this shit. Yeah. Tracking wise, well, what I would imagine is September 2022 was our C. January 2023 was our low high. February 2024 was our M. December 2024 was our last time to sell, our T. And we are down here right now. Okay. Yeah. I don't have any levels here. I don't have anything to compare with. Anything else than before the big run, there's a massive drop. So in the best case, what I would say, the higher low isn't breaking this trend line normally. So you would now knife down to wherever your V is. Then you're doing your higher low. And then you would break out. For the breakout levels right now would be, and that's the stupid part, A at 386 and B at 80,000. Again, like I said as in FFAE, FFAI, or Fuser, or GNS, you won't ever see a share at $79,000. No. Maybe not even at 386. No. Not without a reverse split. Won't happen. Yeah. Everyone who is telling you, yeah, we can go up here again. Yeah. Fractally, you can go up here. But you will do splits. You won't see one share at $80,000. No. And how this is looking, yeah, I already said that in the last video. You can track stocks perfectly with the fractal theory. What the fractal theory isn't predicting is the listing. Yeah, the fractal can look perfectly fine. If the stock is going OTC, okay, the fractal is still working, but if the stock is just flip gone, that isn't changing the fractal, but the stock is still gone. And how this looks right now, that looks bad. This stock looks like it's a 95% probability candidate to go OTC. Just saying. I mean, okay. Wait for the V. Wait for the higher low. And especially wait for the breakout of this trend line. If you do that, perfect. Yeah. If not, this thing will kiss this trend line till it's dead. Yeah. Okay. I think that was everything. Okay. As always, if you liked it, you can leave a like. Tutorial and explanation video I will put here. Playlist comes here. And if you want to see more, you can give me a number. Let's see if we're ending the story of AMC and GME tomorrow. Yeah.